Yeah, the Juice Award. The coaches gave him out today, but I thought they were spot on. Javinsky Schlemberger, I thought ran, a little bit possessed, and you can tell he wants the job. And I thought he got great physical yards, especially in the coming out scenario that we needed it. Tony Freeman, I thought he caught a big explosive play early on in the scrimmage, had a punt return touchdown, which was good to see because we got to find who that guy's going to be. And then Brandon Hills, we call him BB. I just think he's been progressively getting better. I think he's done a really good job. He's got an amazing story, and he keeps working his tail off. So really proud of him.
Frank Cusano, you didn't mention, is getting one of the juice, but had a sack, had a tackle for loss, had a couple big hits. Seems like he's kind of growing a little more comfortable in playing in this defense in these last few weeks.
I would say one of the biggest things that I've been impressed with Frank about is that he has processed the defense as a true freshman. Really, really hard to do at the Mike position. He embodies physicality. I think it's pretty evident to see on that fourth down stop. He was banged up a little bit there, but comes right back in and makes plays. So really proud of where he's at. As of right now, he'd be a travel guy, and he's fighting to get in that rotation.
Jake, last time we were here, asked you about the quarterbacks, and there was turnovers for both Zevi and John. Today, no turnovers for them. Just, I guess, what were your thoughts on them taking care of the ball?
I just think even the last 6 practices, we've been cleaner as an offense, not turning the ball over as much. And I think it starts with them. I think the hardest thing to replicate, though, is the quarterback turns the ball over once they start getting hit, right? So proud of what they did. John did a good job in the sudden change scenario. We did a lot of 2-minute things kind of throughout the course of the week. Once again, I'll watch the tape and see how, they separate each other. But at the end of the day, happy with where both of them at, and a really positive day in that category.
Kind of building off that, they seem to do really well in the red zone today, specifically. That's got to be encouraging to see.
Well, I don't know if you missed the 2 fourth-down stops or the stop inside the 1-yard line. We worked in that shot zone, that red zone. I think when true quarterbacks, that's when the windows are tight and you got to make great decisions. I thought they both threw a couple of deeper red zone strikes, and that's positive. We need to score touchdowns when we get down there, but I'd love to see us cap off a couple of those drives inside the 5-yard line with some physicality.
When you get done with us and you walk in, are you going to be happy with this scrimmage? I mean, just the reaction of what you saw today?
I always walk off happy. The Cougs win. I think you can't get emotionally high or low. I think the one thing we talked about even as coaches, even on the headsets, staying calm, be emotionally stable, be in the moment and being present. And I think as a head coach, that's exactly where you have to be, right? If we score 50 points, I walk in mad at the defense, right? We get these stops, and you just can't live in that moment. They all got to be learning experiences. We just need to keep getting better, Dennis. I mean that. As a football team and as a program, we got to keep advancing, and we can't take these last 3 practices off.
99-yard drive.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Just flat awesome. We just put them in a coming out situation. We talked about it this morning. But, we only wanted to have a 10-play series there, and these guys got all the way up to 13, 14 plays, and to cap off that drive, I thought that was one of the pinnacle moments of the scrimmage.
You talked about you can't take the last 3 practices off, the spring game. I mean, what's your message to this team Monday before you go through that last week?
We talked about different levels of being a competitor this morning, and I think that's what's going to show. Who's just going to show up, who's going to go through the motions, and who's going to take these last 3 days an opportunity to build skill and get better on what we need to improve on. Because we need to make huge improvements in the 2-minute drills, red zone situations. We'll still put some fourth quarter situations out there, 4-minute. We won't be as long out in the field, but it's got to be to the point and it's got to be executed well. So we want to have a really clean spring game. And once again, we finally get people here. There'll be a lot of noise. How does our young team respond to that? And I think every time you can put your team in those situations, you find out a little bit more about where you're at.
So Billy scored, Trey scored. What do you make of the tight end play here in camp so far?
I think hopefully today is that breakthrough moments. I think they always want to prove themselves as pass catchers. I think Billy's done a good job of that really the last couple of times we put him in those red zone situations. Trey, I think his athletic ability has a role. And then I just want to see their physicality in the run game. So I think we're taking steps forward, sometimes slower than I'd love to see. But I think it's a position that we need them to perform at a high level.
Zevi can really move his feet. What do you think about that sort of aspect of his game?
I think we challenged him there. I think at first he was kind of too much comfortable. You can't touch the quarterback in the pocket, to seeing what he can do a little bit more off script. And once again, when John takes off, that's a problem. Zevi's savvy and is going to kind of move and keep his eyes down the field. So I think they're very different when the pocket breaks down, but I think both has their advantages in certain areas there.
I'm curious about the Kyle's wide receiver. One was not suited up, one in a boot. Just how are they doing and how long are they going to be
Talking about
out?
Maxwell?
Yeah.
Okay, K-Dub, I think he's doing good. He's got to finish strong in school, and we'll get him back out at practice. He was running kind of stairs today with some of the other guys, and Maxwell had a little PCL isolated deal that he'll be ready for summer training come May.
With the lack of turnovers, which you're happy with on the offense, is it also a deal where you wish the defense was coming up with more, or how do you kind of balance those two things?
Once again, I think scrimmages are hard because you can't hit the quarterback. You know, that's when the ball really comes out. So if you can get 3 takeaways without hitting the quarterback, you're in positive territory. And we do include those 2 4th down stops. They're like takeaways to us. So I think that kind of balances out certain situations. I think we've been really good about it as spring has gone on, but we only got 15 last year. Completely unacceptable, right? That 20 mark really emphasizes you're going to get 7+ wins as you look at the stats.
Seemed like a lot of long, kind of grindy drives today. I guess, would you like to see more explosive plays, or do you see what are the positives of kind of these kind of grindy drives?
You know, I think a couple things. You know, K-Dub wasn't out there, Maxwell wasn't out there. I still want to see who's going to be our stretch players down the field. You know, I think you got to be able to grind out here and there, but ball after catch and rack, those will be some things that we'll focus on to see who can give us some of those things. And we saw a little bit of it, but to your point, probably not enough explosions. So you look on the other side, defense did a good job.
And we see a lot of young guys and backups, whether it's quarterback, Cusano out there on defense. I mean, what do you see from just young guys and backups in general today, any standouts?
You know, the quarterback too, Evans Chuba continues to show some of his talents. A big, rangy guy that can really throw the ball. I think he's got a different blended skill set that can be pretty productive for us. I want to see the tape on Noah Dunham because I think he can find his way working himself into some depth pieces and rotation. And I'm not going to put a ceiling on Frank. Every time we put him out there, he just keeps getting better and better.
Jake, we saw live punt today, tackling and punt. So, where's your happy medium in this spring of tackling, not tackling? Are you trying to do more? Are you trying to make sure you do the right things? Tell us about
I think
what
as
you're
a
trying
head
to
coach,
do.
Dennis, you always got to understand every time you tackle, you put your guys at risk. But you're also knowing that those are some of your most pivotal plays to say who can make those plays when it's live, right? Obviously, a punt returner is a big deal. We're looking for explosion in that phase of the game as well. So I think we got 7 returns. I thought those guys did really positive things. We make sure we kick the ball low from Nick's end so we can get returns. Who can tackle in a special teams game? So, I mean, you talk about that being the 3rd phase, but a lot of people just do it on air. They do it slow tempos. But can Reese Sylvester get that guy down? Can Frank be on the punt team? Can Keith Brown be a factor in those type of situations? So until you do it, you got to be artful about it. But at the end of the day, I thought you need that work so their first time isn't just in game 1. Thanks, Coach. All right, guys. Thank you. Go Cougs.